Truth Zone. I'm your host, D Truth. And we are here. I got some kind of shaking news right now. What the court had ruled on what the church can conceal. Respect to, let me see who's okay with the chat. Show on the way to Cuba, the Bronx. Respect to you, my brother. Jerry Spears, respect to you. The word, respect to you. Teron Brown, respect to you. And everybody else that gonna come in the chat. I got some audio. I would play the video, but it been acting up kind of funny. But this is some of the news right here that is kind of funny here. What the church funny. I want y'all to take a listen to it, okay? Hold on.
Can conceal crimes. The Arizona court rules the Mormon Church can conceal crimes. That's the ruling. The Arizona court ruling made April 7th allows the Church of Latter-day Saints to hide child abuse from the public as long as it's disclosed in a spiritual confession. Wow. That ruling allows Mormon church officials to refuse to turn over documentation or answer any questions regarding the crime. Although the state Supreme Court made its decision earlier this month, the ruling was not made public until Tuesday, April 12th. Where's the transparency? The ruling was made after a lawsuit began following a 2010 child abuse case against a man named Paul Douglas Adams, right there. Adams told the Latter-day Saints bishop in 2011 that he was abusing his 5-year-old daughter. Stories said the bishop did not report the abuse to authorities and that Adams continued to abuse the girl for 7 more years, then began to sexually abuse her newborn sister. And then the bishop asked Adams to report the abuse to police, but Adams refused and declined to give Herod permission to make the report himself after his confidential confession. According to the church's statement, Herod also asked Adams' wife, Laiza, to report. She refused and later served a prison sentence for failure to report sexual abuse. Adams was caught after continued abuse without any intervention from the church. Adams died by suicide in jail after he was arrested for child pornography, for filming and distributing sexual acts with the girls. Now, Arizona judges have made their decision. Lawyers representing Adams' children took the case to the Arizona Supreme Court, which ended up siding with the church. The attorneys intend to file a motion asking the court to reconsider its ruling. Wow. This has not been the first case of the church turning a blind eye to cases of child abuse and will not be the last under current legislation. Here are Herman Law statistics regarding child abuse by clergy members. And there you see it. The stats show child abuse allegations were made against 4,392 priests, totaling 4% of all Catholic priests. 22% of victims were 10 or under. 80% of victims were male. Only 2% of the accused priest went to prison. You got all these prisons, but you don't want to put the child abusers in them. You go first, Benny.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. You trying to tell me if a person in Arizona or a person in just about any state can go confess to doing a crime like child abuse, sexual abuse to a child, and the church had the right not to report it? They had a right not to tell what that adult did to a child? That's all they got to do? That's not right at all. That's not right at all right there. See, that's why I say these churches, these days, these churches, so-called church buildings, these priests, these pastors, these ministers, these bishops are crooked as hell. so flock. And some of your flock members is abusing your child. See, the priest didn't report it. He kept on abusing the older girl. Then started doing it to the youngest newborn. See, that's the problem. Then the child mother didn't want to report it. See, I could say I understand her not want to report it, but not reported it on time to the police officer. What was her mind of thinking? Maybe he was doing, maybe that man was doing something to her. See, I don't get it. But let it be one of us sexual abusing a child, and we go and we'll be locked up. Look at all the Catholic Church that was abusing these little boys. Say only 2% got locked up. See, I find that kind of strange. The court want to rule in the church favor on that situation. Why would the court want to rule in their favor? You're right, Jerry. Neither will the church. No, neither the courts. See, think about it. Ruled in the Latter-day the Mormon Church, right? The Mormon Church is mainly made of what? Caucasian, right? Let's say a Baptist, African, other kind of congregational church that were made of melanated people, and they went to court. You think they would have got the same ruling? No, they wouldn't have got the same damn ruling. They had to report it. See, if you call yourself a man of some kind of higher power, high God that you worship, what would he be thinking about you not reporting that child abuse? Why would you want to not report the child abuse? Scared of losing that money, that funding that person is giving you? How many people don't care with the church on confession and confess to a crime that these so-called bishops, these ministers, these pastors can't report? And how long would it go on? See, that's the problem. These churches get away with a whole lot of things. These policy, these laws, these courts get away with a whole lot of damn things. They're getting away with it. Say what you want to say. See, the most evil people I know are in the church building that goes to church on Sunday, which is not the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day is the day, which is Saturday. So make me understand this. Make me understand this. Make me understand it real good now. Make me understand it real good. So I can go to Arizona. Even if I do not go to that church, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saint, I can go confess to that pastor, that minister, that bishop, that I did something to a child. He cannot report it, or she cannot report it. Make that make sense. That don't make no sense at all, do it? That do not make no damn sense at all. See, I guess I think logical. Maybe I think too much into things. What if that happened to your child? What if that was your child, bishop? What if that was your child, minister? What if that was your child, pastor? What if that your child, so-called church leader in the pulpit? What if that your child would get sexual abuse and he came to confess to you that he did that to your child? What would you do then? Oh, yeah, you probably go report it then, but guess what? You can't now report it in Arizona now, because guess what? What he said to you is confidential. That's just like, that made you confess it to your pastor in Arizona, like confess it to your lawyer. He can't say what you did. He got to defend you, try to get you off the hook. Make that make sense. That is crazy. That is a crazy law that got out in Arizona. How the hell can you tell a pastor he cannot report child abuse? He can't tell you, he can't go to the law and tell you what you did. It got to depend on that parent, that mother, that father go report you. See, if we did that, not reporting things, not telling nobody what somebody did, they want to get us for withholding evidence. They want to throw us in jail for withholding evidence. Is that withholding evidence? Is the pastor, the minister, the bishop, whoever the leader of the church is, don't tell it? Isn't that what it is? I'm calling what I see, which is a bunch of bullshit. Whole lot of people get away with a whole lot of motherfucking shit that they shouldn't be getting away with it. See, the school get away with a whole lot of shit too. There's a lot of abuse going on in these schools, as well as the churches that is not being reported. Don't want to report teachers either. Don't want to report coaches. Don't want to report administrators. They don't want to report it until it happens to them. Then they want somebody to feel some kind of feel sad for them when it do happen. So tell me why that we got to go through this each and every single day with these churches, making all these millions of money off of people like us. Well, so pay your tithes, you get it back tenfold. How the hell I'm gonna get it back tenfold? I still have trouble paying my rent. How am I gonna get back tenfold when there are people having trouble putting clothes on their kids' back, put food in their stomach? But yet you want them to have child abuse, sexual child abuse. That is not right. It's gonna be wrong. How can a judge sit there and say that and get a church authority not reporting it? That is hard. That is hard to see. That's just hard to fathom. So a person that goes to that church building, the person that in that neighborhood, don't care they go to that church, that can go confess their sins to the pastor about child abuse of a child, sexually, mentally, and physically. And that pastor, that bishop, whoever is, that church leader is, do not have to reveal it because it's confidential. Isn't that withholding evidence? See, I'll be back to that story. I'll be back to that story once again. Okay. That was the court ruled that the church don't have to rule that the church can conceal child abuse. If it's spiritually confessed. How is the person going to know if the person confesses child abuse is spiritually confessing or not? How? I will wait to see how the church respond. How can you in your soul not report that? How can you? Here's a feel-good story for today. We got two of them right there. Hold on, we got two of them right there. I'm finna play one audio. Hold on.
NASA scientist. Isn't he cute? Bet he hates that. He was on a recent trip to the Space Telescope Science Institute. 9-year-old is one of the youngest high school 9 years old, and he's a high school graduate. Receiving his diploma from Reach Cyber Charter School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. After graduation, Logan was invited by NASA and the Maryland-based Sports Telescope Science Institute to visit the James Webb Space Telescope Mission Operations Center in Baltimore. His story made headlines, and Hannah Braun, the Institute's spokesperson, said the team just had to meet him. I had actually seen David's story all over social media and thought, wow, I bet he'd find a trip to Webb's Mission Operations Center exciting, Braun told Atlanta Black Star. What they didn't know was that he was going to teach them a thing or two, all without being on this earth for even 10 years yet. We don't have children visit the center, really, besides families of employees on occasion. So the crew didn't quite know what to expect with David. In his orange NASA spacesuit, the scientists who provided the tour were instantly impressed with the child's knowledge of the science. In the flight control room, Balogan watched them do a mock-up for the sound check, a process done with astronauts before they take off, described as inquisitive. The young genius started talking about something they had never heard of before. Super Saturn. What's that? Braun recalled asking. So then we got to Googling. Logan already had his career plan set with his eyes set on being an astrophysicist, chemist, engineer, and software designer. All of those, okay, not one, all. But before that, he is prepping for college. Black Enterprise reported that most would think Logan would go to Harvard. But his father, Henry, is doing research on what the best fit will be. Am I going to throw my 9-year-old into Harvard while I'm living in Pennsylvania? No. This is the real Doogie Howser with brighter eyes and a bigger, real future here. I don't know what it is, but I'm in love with this kid. And I feel like, Jessica, he had these NASA scientists on their heels and kind of like looking up, if you will, maybe if they were seated to him. And I think that that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love that. What?
A 9-year-old genius, melanated 9-year-old genius. The parent did something right. They did something right. He's smart, graduated high school at 9-year-old. And that's just baffling when I hear that story. A 9-year-old graduated high school, don't know what college he's going to go to, but I guarantee that college is paid for. I guarantee he will graduate before he's 11 or 12. Especially when he go to that science museum, people who've been dealing with that kind of work for a while, he taught them something. It's amazing how a child mind is. Feed the child mind so it can grow and stay on top of them. A child mind is easy to manipulate. But once you get that child interested in something, help that child mind to grow, to expand in its entirety. How do us as parents, as adults, we got to sit and listen to a child. That child was, think about it, graduated high school at 9 years old. Them classes came easy to him. How in the world do you do that? How in the world does a 9-year-old does that? This ain't the first time a child graduated high school that early. But when is he going to have time to be a kid? You got to think about that too. When is that child going to have time enough to be a kid? He probably still doing kid things right now. But his brain, his mind is set to be aerophysicist, a programmer. He is planning on being a whole bunch of things at one time. How many of us adults could say that? We can do a majority of things at one time. Hardly a few of us can do that. That right there is genius of that 9-year-old to do what he does. And I applaud the parents of this child. Is he gonna be perfect? Nobody said he's gonna be perfect. Nobody said that. But he's going to be one smart kid. What else can I say about him? What else can I say about this child, this 9-year-old child? What else can I say? What else can I say? There ain't nothing that I can say about this child. Here's a heartbreaking story right here. Here's a heartbreaking story. Let me let you hear it, okay? Let me let you hear it. I'm gonna let you hear it in a minute. Hold on.
This picture makes me tear up. It's a
Listen to
heartbreaking
this.
story.
Listen to this right here.
This young man had courage, and Atlanta families in mourning the loss of their teenage son, Bryce Brooks, and a family friend after both drowned during spring break, the trip in an attempt to save a group of kids that they did not know near Pensacola, Florida, sprang into action. According to Shivy and Crystal Brooks, on April 6th, their son Bryce witnessed a group of children he didn't know being pushed by a current at Johnson Beach in Perdido Key, Florida. Appeared to be drowning. Bryce and two others jumped into the Gulf of Mexico waters to save the other children, while three other boys ran to get help. Unfortunately, he began to be pulled under by the strong current, and Bryce drowned. That current also took the life of family friend and beloved basketball coach Charles Johnson II, also known as Uncle Chuck. Johnson jumped in to attempt to save Bryce. The children were rescued, and 4 people were transported to local hospitals in the wake of this emergency. The Brooks family said Bryce was an honor roll student, a member of his school's fashion club, loved to make music, and always took care of his younger brother. He also appeared on the Netflix show Instant Dream Home with his family, which a crew secretly renovated their Atlanta home. Quoting, "We're never going to get to see Bryce grow up to be the full man that he was going to be," Crystal said. "But we know that he stepped into his manhood to save these children. And that makes me proud. Doesn't take away an ounce of pain, but it makes me proud of our son." There's a GoFundMe that was started to help the family with funeral costs, and it currently has reached more than $85,000 in donations. We bring you this story because it's one of courage. It's heartbreaking, but I couldn't agree more with this mother who's lost to replace her precious son when she said he stepped into manhood. It sounds like he didn't hesitate when he leapt into action and tried to save his life he did not know. What does that speak to, in your view? And I mean, within his family.
That right there, it is heartbreaking and sad, and to put a smile on my face too at the same time. No reason to put a smile on my face. Him and that coach jumped in. He jumped in to help save four young people from drowning himself without thinking. How many of us would have did that? Jumped in the water, knowing that we probably had a chance of drowning ourselves. How many of us would have did that? It's sad the coach jumped in the water, tried to save him, but drowned himself. 2 heroes, 2 dead, because they try to save one. Try to save some kids, and the other tried to save the one that tried to save them kids, which he did. That's a hero. That's a man. That's a real man. Because how many of us would have did that, knowing that we can't swim or not? Would have tried to save these kids. Would have tried to save somebody. No, we might have to need to be saved too. With that current of water, the water is undefeated. I don't care if you know how to swim or not. But them children he saved. He is labeled, that's a hero to me. It does something like that. You put your life on the line when you don't have to save somebody else. And you lost your life because you were saving that other person, the people. Somebody might call it dumb, somebody might call it stupid, but I call it heroic. Not thinking about yourself, you're thinking about saving somebody else. I know that this right here is not what I was looking for when I came with live right now. This is a happy story because 4 kids were saved. It also is a sad story because 2 people lost their lives trying to save the 4 kids, and one tried to save him. Regardless of their life, the chances of they losing their life, consider how that water was, they would have a chance to lose their life. But yet, it wasn't their life they were thinking about. They were thinking about their kids' life. Unlike that court in Arizona, want to say the church could conceal child abuse. Don't have to report it. That young man, this teen, gave his life to save 4 kids. That should be celebrated. That should be honored. That should be cherished. He hasn't finished high school yet, but guess what? He grew into manhood just that quick by going there and saving a kid and losing his life, saving them 4 kids. I know y'all don't like hearing stories about like this, but guess what? This story, it resonates. To think all the people that does that, try to save people or save people who they don't know, that don't get the recognition they should get. This is a happy story. 4 kids still alive, but it's still sad at the same time. But I'm smiling because this young man did what he was not trained to do, which he did what he didn't have to do. He did what he wanted to do. He wanted to respect the word. Sometimes we got to look past our wants and our needs and our faults to see what other people want, other people need, other people wants. Sometimes we got to sacrifice ourselves. If nothing had taught me, something that had taught me is that we got one life to live. Just think, them kids would have had a chance to live if it wasn't for that young man. And that goes to show the coach what he thought about that young man. He tried to save that young man and himself, but they both perished. They both drowned. That right there showed me what kind of people we still have on this earth. We got some good souls, good people, good humans on this earth. They're willing to sacrifice themselves to save others, to help others. The question I ask you, will you give your last to help somebody else? Will you sacrifice your life to save somebody else? Would you try to save some kids, save a grandma, save a human being that's in a burning building? Will you jump in that water and try to save them kids? That is the question I ask to you. How do we go in life not caring? How do we go through life caring about nobody but ourselves? Ourselves is not going to get nowhere. Our pride gets in our way. We got to sit that pride aside and say, hey, let me help somebody else. Let me save somebody else. When something happens and you see it happen and you got a chance to help out, don't do it because you want your name in the paper. You want to be talked about. Do it because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. We as humans, we look out for self. When you look out for self, you know what self is? Totally selflessness. We don't give a damn about nobody else, and you expect somebody to give a damn about you. How you gonna expect somebody to care about you when you don't care about nobody else? See, this is a lesson learned. This teenager taught us a lesson with this right here. He did it without thinking. How many times have you done something without thinking to help somebody else? When that somebody else gonna rise up, say, hey, I want to be just like this kid. I want to help somebody else. He did something us real us grown ups. I don't care what nationality you from. We're not never done. We're not even thinking done. Who would have jumped in there to save them kids? That is a $1 million question. Who would help them kids? Who gonna help them kids? Who gonna help them kids that get abused by their parents that go confess at that church? Who gonna help them kids? It gonna continue because the church don't have the right. They don't right now. They don't have to report it. They had to keep their mouth closed. See, I couldn't be the one in the confession booth that a guy or girl confessed to me that they abused their child, and they abused a woman or a man, and abused the other child. I wouldn't be a bishop. I had to go report it. I had to go report it. Because I think back, if that was my child that was drowning, if that was my child being abused, I want somebody to help me. Everybody is not on the same level. Everybody don't have the same conscience. When you have the same conscience, when your child is in trouble, or when another child is in trouble that's not yours, what you do, be a hero, be a man or a woman, go save that child from that situation. See, that situation that child in, they need our help. That situation that our children be in, they need our help. As adults, we got to step up. We got to make some kind of changes. We got to get somewhere in our heart, say, hey, enough is enough. When would that be? When would that be? When would that be? It's hard enough for us see, this is why I said we got to protect our kids. This is what I say we got to protect our kids. See, we got to protect our kids at home, on the street, and everywhere else.
Fired after writing racial slur on a whiteboard. There are plenty of good teachers out there. This is not one of them, apparently. Las Vegas substitute teacher has been immediately fired after a photo posted online showed him writing the N-word on a Silvestri Junior High School whiteboard. What in the world would possess? Okay. Students from Charles Silvestri Junior High alerted their principal, Yvette Tippett, and other administrators about one of her staffers being at the center of the racially volatile tweet. The unidentified male teacher was seen speaking to students with the word on the whiteboard, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Picture was posted on the No Racism in Schools #1865 page for all to see. School's principal, Yvette Tippett, released a statement to parents informing them that the school had launched an investigation into an issue that, quote, involved communication that contained racial implications. You think, Ms. Tippett? You think? Administration will continue to communicate with you about these situations because it will take the entire Silvestri Junior High School community to condemn these actions collectively, the principal promised. I assure you that appropriate action will be taken against those responsible based on the outcome of the investigation. Additionally, I would like you to know that this will not be tolerated at our school or within the school district. We will not tolerate behaviors that contradict an inclusive community and impact the needs of our students. Liz Guzman, one of the Clark County School Board trustees, tweeted this: "The district has removed this individual. They will no longer be able to substitute at any school in the Clark County School District. I want to commend the students that turned in this horrific."
Wait a minute, hold on. I got to step in there. Won't be able to teach in that county. Okay, so be it. But what about the other counties, the other school districts? They should be banned from teaching at any of them damn schools. They were saying we got to start teaching our kids at home. Some of us can't. I understand that. But I'm surprised the administrator actually fired this teacher. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they acted like they did. See, when you go do that to a teacher and for a word, but what that says about the church, these churches that get away with things like they don't have a report that could conceal child abuse in Arizona. We still not protecting our kids. Respect Kenyon 28, respect E. James Part 2. How do we teach our kids? We get us as adults, we got to stop being afraid of things. Women, females, you got to protect your kids. If the men out here, these so-called men out here is not going to protect their child, ain't going to do that to a child, sexual abuse, verbal, physical child abuse, you're not going to report it, you're going to get sentenced. This 9-year-old kid, he's a genius. Graduated high school at 9 years old. He probably graduated college when he's 12 or 13. Then this young man who's still in high school jumps in the water to save these 4 kids. See, these kids were brought up right. One kid didn't care about his life. He jumped in the water. Yes, there's too many damn shooters going on. Because we got to sacrifice ourselves as parents, as adults. Teach our kids. We are the first teachers of our kids. We are our first children, mentors, and role models. We got to teach our kids how to become a business-minded person, how to get their own business. Teach our kids don't take too much crap for nobody. See, that's the problem that some of these kids have. They don't have real good role models because some of the adults don't know what the hell they doing their damn self. They don't have no sense of directions. When the adults get a sense of the direction, maybe they can give their kids a sense of directions. See, I played the audio of this 9-year-old who graduated high school at 9 for a reason. They go to show you the parents doing what they're supposed to do with some kids. Yes, some kids got it, just have it. Some kids doesn't. But this still goes to show you the parents can keep the child on the straight and narrow and keep them wanting more and want more knowledge of different things that goes on in the world. And I played the audio of this high school kid that didn't care about his life, didn't think about his life, that thought about saving them 4 kids' lives, that lost his life saving 4 kids. We as adults, We don't think about trying to save nobody else. We think about me, 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 me. I. We all human. We all in this world together. We are all in this world together. See, I tell you, sometimes as an adult, as a human race, we let that pride get in the way. That pride is a killer. When that pride gets in the way, it puts up a big wall. When that pride gets in the way, we find ourselves in trouble. We find our family in trouble. We found our kids in trouble. We got to set that pride aside and say, hey, I want to do better. We are the first thing our kids look at. We are the first teacher of our kids. When we teach our kids the right way to do things, teach our kids what's going on in this world, and show them how to go read and write and do math, we got to do that. But some of us adults cannot do that. We gotta stop being so selfish as a human race. If we stop being selfish as a human race, maybe this world will get better. But first, you got to start with yourself. First, you got to love yourself. We got to love ourselves enough to say, hey, I want to help this person to become whatever this person want to become. I want to help my child become whoever. I want to help my child, help this child become whatever he or she want to become or want to do in life. I'm going to put my heart, mind, and soul, and body into my child's work. I want to make sure my child don't have to worry about anything but to do what they got to do to get where they want to get to. And parents, stop trying to live your life through your child. That's their downfall right there. When you try to live your life through your child, that's their downfall of their life. Because that take the fun out of what they want to do or what they doing or what they try to succeed to do. Stop trying to live your life through your child. Let your child have fun doing what they do. And stop living your life through them. Because if you live your life through them, they're not going to want to do it. They're going to find it not fun anymore. We talk about everything, Queen of the Now, EJ's part 2. We talk about everything. We talk about heroics, how smart a 9-year-old was, how the church, so-called church in Arizona, got the courts said they could conceal child abuse. How do you feel about that? Respect, Pat M. How do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel about a court order saying a church could conceal child abuse? For some of y'all that didn't hear it, I'm going to replay it again. Hold on. I'm going to replay it again. Hold on. I'm going to find it. We'll get it. Hold on. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to find it. I want y'all to tell me how y'all feel about this. Tell me how do y'all feel about this right here.
Rules the Mormon Church can
Listen to this.
Conceal crimes.
Listen to this right here.
That's the ruling. The Arizona court ruling made April 7th allows the Church of Latter-day Saints to hide child abuse from the public as long as it's disclosed in a spiritual confession. Wow. That ruling allows Mormon church officials to refuse to turn over documentation or answer any questions regarding the crime. Although the state Supreme Court made its decision earlier this month, the ruling was not made public until Tuesday, April 12. Where's the transparency? The ruling was made after a lawsuit began following a 2010 child abuse case against a man named Paul Douglas Adams, right there. Adams told the Latter-day Saints bishop in 2011 that he was abusing his 5-year-old daughter. Stories said the bishop did not report the abuse to authorities and that Adams continued to abuse the girl for 7 more years, then began to sexually abuse her newborn sister. And then the bishop asked Adams to report the abuse to police, but Adams refused and declined to give Herod permission to make the report himself after his confidential confession. According to the church's statement, Herod also asked Adams' wife, Laiza, to report. She refused and later served a prison sentence for failure.
Now, how in the hell we supposed to protect children? How as an adult we supposed to protect children when courts put down rulings like that? How do we supposed to protect our kids? How do we supposed to protect anybody's kids when courts put down rulings like that? And the man confessed. How we know is a spiritually confession. He did it spiritually confession doing it to a 5-year-old, but did it for 7 more years. Then started doing it to his newborn daughter. But the church don't have no more. We don't have people, some humans do not have no morals until it happened to them, and they want people to start feeling sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for no goddamn man who does that to a child. I don't feel that's sorry for a woman who does let a man do that to a child. I don't feel sorry for a woman that does to a child. I don't feel sorry for a man that let a woman do that to a child. I sure hell don't feel no sorry for no pastor, bishop, minister. I don't care what you want to call them. I don't feel sorry for the church. The church get what it get. The people who goes to that place of worship, they call it a place of worship, get what they get. Especially if you sit on something like that, you don't have, they try to say that the church don't have a moral obligation to report that shit. Moral obligation. And you supposed to be serving a higher power. But guess what? You're serving a higher power that don't look like us, that is not us. Now, if another kind of church was another church people that went to would have did that, said the same thing, you think the same rule have been applied? No, it wouldn't. How do we protect our kids when the church is not protecting our kids? How do we protect our kids when the school's not protecting our kids? How do we protect our kids when the courts is not trying to protect our kids? How do we protect our kids? How do we protect ourselves? People can make a lie up on us. How are we going to protect our kids for all this that's going on in this world? Where we can sit down and talk to them and have conversation with them. We can have conversation with our kids and say, hey, this is going on. You can do whatever you want to do in life. And stop trying to live your life through your kids. Let the kids be a kid. But inspire them to be the best they can be. And do the best they can do. Be the greatest of all time if they want to. Our kids is our future. Pass something good on down the line to our kids. See, these kids that I talked about, the hero, the smart, the genius kid, encourage them to be what they want to be. Encourage them, not what they want to be. Encourage them to do what they want to do. They are all that we have right now in this life. These kids are very simple-minded. They are very passionate. Support them in whatever they do and how they do it. Us as adults, we got to stop trying to live our lives through our kids, through the children. Support them in everything they do. They are our future, and they're going to pass it on down the line. We got to be our kids' role model. We got to be our kids' mentors. So they're going to say, hey, I want to be like mom. I want to be like dad. I'm proud of my mom. I'm proud of my dad for the support they give me. That's all we got to do. So if they give me more joy out of a child say, I'm proud of my mom, my dad for raising me this way. I'm proud of my mom for sacrifice what she got to sacrifice. I'm proud of my dad for sacrifice what he had to sacrifice for me. I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my family for being behind me. You know how that would make you feel? That make you feel good, wouldn't it? It make you feel all right, okay. You be high as a kite, especially when your child talking about you, how you make them feel, especially when they talk about you, how you make them feel, how you supported them in their endeavors, what they doing. But we got to teach our child at home. We got to be that first role model and mentor. We got to teach them the real history, what's going on as well, went on as well. And then when it all said and done, our kids would go out to be the best representation of themselves. It is hard sometimes. It's hard sometimes out here for us as an adult. But no reason the hard out here for us adults out here because we make it hard. But guess what? We work hard to get what we get. We open a business to do so our kids will have to work so hard to do what we did. We try to make it easy for our kids. But when the kids don't look at you that way, when they're going outside the family, they're looking at somebody down the street. They admire the drug dealers. They admire the gangbangers. They admire the people, the streetwalkers. What they tell you. Sometimes it's hard for some kids out here, especially some kids at Kelly, which there'll be another topic, but it's hard. But if you make it hard for your child because you want to make it hard for yourself, you're supposed to make this world an easy place for your child to grow up. Which we know this world is not an easy place to grow up, but you for the child to have it easy. They're supposed to have a word for nothing. Do you want your child to say, hey, I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my mom. I'm proud of my dad. I'm proud of mom for how they raised me. They raised me to be this way, and I want to raise my kids to be this way too. Little girl for to be proud of their dad. Say, hey, that's my dad right there. I love my dad. Because he was there every step away from me. A son supposed to love their mother. Said, that's my mom. She was there every step of the way. A son supposed to say, hey, this is my dad right here. My dad taught me everything I know. And daughter supposed to say, my mom taught me everything that I know. They will say, my father taught me everything I know. I love my mom and my dad. Fathers, you got to be around for your child. Mom, you got to be around for your child. Do everything you can to make their life easier so they won't have to struggle or do the things and go through the things you had to go through. That's all we ask of people. That's all we ask of each other. Till we start learning how to, what do our kids see? We're the first people, we are their first teachers on trying to press somebody else out here in the streets. But guess who? Guess we got impressed is our own kids, our children that's in the house. They see everything that we do, everything that we do. They're gonna mimic. They're gonna copy everything we do. If we're not doing right, guess what? They're not gonna do right. If they don't have that business mindset, they're not gonna have that business mindset to do anything. If you see mom and dad not working, they would think they're gonna think they don't have to work. This right here was an open panel right here on this subject. I'm so proud of that 9-year-old for graduating high school at 9. I'm so proud of that young man who jumped in that water to save them 4 kids. That was all about. Adults, parents, that's what it's all about. Showing our kids that anything can be done, anything can be accomplished. Although that young man that saved them 4 children lost his life saving them, but he did it without thinking. I challenge any adult out there who would have did the same thing in that situation or stood by to just watching 4 kids drown. I don't think I could have stood around and watched 4 kids drown on my watch. I could have stayed around and watched 4 kids go through this trouble, abuse they go through on my watch. What adult can? What adult will? But that court ruling about the Arizona church, because what am I saying is churches could conceal child abuse is shocking. Well, not really shocking. It's amazing. So, long as you're spiritually felt, how the hell the bishop gonna know, a minister, a pastor, rabbi gonna know when somebody can confess to child abuse? It's spiritually felt. How they gonna know? They're not gonna know. What kind of person is that bishop, that minister, pastor, rabbi on the other side of that confession wall? What kind of integrity do they have? What kind of men or women are they? Just sit by and let somebody say, I did this to my child. I'm ashamed of it. But yet still go back to do it 7 years later and still do it to that little girl. What it says about the mother that they reported. And let it kept going on. But she still wanted to go to jail time. What that say? Maybe he will be on her. No. Who gonna protect the kids? Who gonna protect us? Who gonna protect anybody? If the courts keep ruling shit like this and not protecting the kids, we're gonna have to protect our kids by any means necessary. Any means necessary. It is hard out here for us. If we don't try to make it easy for our young people, I'm talking about the human race, it's gonna get worse before it get better. But we gotta sit down, have a talk, teach our kids different things, different avenues. Teach them to learn different things. Teach them what you know. Tell them what you expect of them. Don't put too much on them. Don't put too much you respect on them. Cause guess what? Don't put too much on them because there's some things you put on them you want to do it yourself. I will be back tonight. I'm gonna do a little roasted tonight, 12 a.m. with the link drop for a certain person. You're gonna be at 12 o'clock. Please join me. This has been one of my Subdued Live I've had so far. I'd like to thank Kenyon, Cuba the Bronx, EJ Part 2, Pamela, The Word, Shawanda Williams for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Shout out to Amanda Black, E. James, Wax AP, Nate the Great, The Word, Cops Tyler Bay, Blow Dollars, Mac Means, Black to the P, Cuba. Let's see where else. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody in there. Butterboy Trey, True Hurts, George Chit Chat. Shout out to State Game. The Nile River, my family, the Nile River, shout out to you. And shout out to the Twitties Nation. Y'all stay up, y'all stay pumped, y'all stay ready. And y'all get ready, have fun tonight. Shout out to everybody. Love you, peace, and love. I'm about here. Been here about an hour or so. So peace, love.
Buddha.